It's Breakfast Central. Before we go straight to our very interesting conversation, let's take a look at what the people are saying on socials, especially on YouTube. You can drop a comment or two. Larry Oloyede says, good morning to News Central, Breakfast Show and all the viewers. Good morning to you. He goes on to say, Nigeria police needs holistic reform. They are most indisciplined force I have ever known. Well, that's his opinion. Ogbonna Charles says, why do we always try to be politically correct whenever we're on TV? Until we start calling evil by its name, we go nowhere. Anyway, another one says, Ali G says, good morning, our wonderful News Central. Please, one stand of tripod. Said tripod is missing. Where's our beautiful Olivia? Olivia's on leave.
That's true. That's true.
Olivia's on leave. And then finally, of course, Mokoye Chukwemeka says, good morning, Team News Central. So good morning to you. Let's now move on to our very interesting conversation. Next, the presidency has come out strongly to defend President Tinubu's latest ambassadorial nomination, saying, and I quote, the president has the prerogative to choose ambassadors. Senior Special Assistant to President Bola Tinubu on Foreign Affairs and Protocol, Admiral Shodi, insists that this was standard global practice. He cited examples like Donald Trump and the UK's Peter Mandelson to justify the president's right to appoint trusted allies to key diplomatic positions. But here's the real question. Are these appointments about national interest or political loyalty? And what does this mean for Nigeria's foreign policy credibility? Joining us for the discussion is former Minister of Youth and Sports, as well as human rights activist, Mr. Solomon Dalung, who joins us this morning. Good morning to you, and it's good to have you join us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for smoking me out of my early morning rest.
We had to do that because it's a very pertinent issue that we need to look into. Of course, we need to get the feelers from every single individual who is a Nigerian, and you're one of them. Outspoken and also have been in government. But let's talk about the presidency and the decision. I mean, the presidency says that this is a global norm. So why are people just making noise? Do you agree with the appointing or the appointment of political allies as ambassadors in standard practice? And if so, does this make his current nomination absolute and devoid of any public scrutiny?
I think most of those commenting are missing the point. The president has the prerogative to appoint ambassadors to represent the country. That is not questionable. The president is also free to appoint his political associates to occupy such exalted positions. We don't have a quarrel with that. The fundamental question which is challenging is that those whom the president is going to exercise such constitutional powers are going to represent us Nigerians. They are going to create, sustain, and maintain image of the country. And the citizens ultimately are the beneficiaries. Therefore, the president is duty-bound to ensure that in exercise of such powers, people nominated to represent the country must represent Nigeria. And they must be people of impeccable integrity because they are representing us in foreign land. This is not a domestic issue. This is not local. Therefore, if these people whom the president has chosen are people with questionable characters, then definitely the president would have succeeded in, of course, creating an impression which is, show me your friend and I will tell you who you are. So the backlash of this bad decision will fall back on Nigerians and the country entirely. And Nigerians everywhere in the world will live with this bad decision because the image of the country will go down and Nigerians will be treated based on those that had been sent out to represent the country. So that is where we are not comfortable, not challenging the rights of the president.
Okay, now let's, I mean, you've established the fact that it's the president's prerogative to appoint ambassadors, and we've also seen this play out internationally. People have defended this is choice of ambassadors, but according to Ambassador Joe Keshi, who's a former permanent secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, he says a number of career diplomats are not happy with this appointment because some of them might be going into retirement in the next 2 years and the next 12 months, and they never got the opportunity to be ambassadors, which is the peak of their career. Having said that, how do you address this fine balancing and delicate act of selecting career ambassadors and also party stalwarts and, you know, your loyalists for the good of the country?
Historically, in Nigerian diplomacy, this is the first time that a president came on board. He was not prepared and withdrew all ambassadors, including career diplomats. The practice has been, the tradition has been, political diplomats will be recalled while career diplomats who have run their career all through will remain. But for the past 2.5 years, Nigeria has no diplomats or envoy anywhere in Nigeria. And that has led to the calamity the country has faced, the citizens have faced, and in so many instances. One of the instances was that a Nigerian traveled to Saudi Arabia. The president was in Saudi that time. He met all the requirements of traveling just for him to be turned back at the airport. And there was nobody, we didn't have a diplomat on the ground to intervene on his behalf to explain his situation. You look at how the Super Eagles in going to play their match in Liberia, and their aircraft was forced to land in a remote airport, and they were compelled to sleep in the airport. Of course, there was nobody on the ground of the status of a diplomat to intervene and save the situation and speak on behalf of the team. And so we have so many of such things. So the diplomatic catastrophe introduced by this administration since it came on board, it has been very huge. And so I'm not surprised that now, when the government has decided to now appoint, it ignored completely, and I think this is not deliberate, but it has to do with the level of ignorance as to how government and their institutions function, because the career diplomats in every cycle of election and change of leadership, there are those who have gone and they will get to the peak of their career, terminating with being appointed ambassadors to serve. And so denying them that opportunity for these 2.5 years and then ending up with populating the entire list with political allies, associates, friends, committee of friends and in-laws, and at the end of the day, denying those who have served the country selflessly since their youth to this point is the definition of injustice anywhere in the world.
All right, we have more questions to ask, especially about the nominees. Very key questions. But let's go on a quick break. We'll ask you to please stay with us. After the break, we'll continue with the conversation. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Our conversation is looking at the presidential nominees for the role of ambassadors, especially those who have been recently selected. But let's talk to our guest who joins us, Mr. Solomon Dalung, who is also speaking with us here this morning. I wanted us to take a look at some of the names, the individuals in particular, and what this portends for the future. It's different if we have individuals who have not been highly critical, especially with their conduct and their character. And I just want to run through some of the videos, and I'd like to get your thoughts with a big question. Is this the best that Nigeria has to present to the world? Let's take a look at just one of them.
Pablo Escobar kind of president. We don't want Nigeria to be reduced to Colombia. We already have enough problems with insecurity. We don't want drug cartels now fighting over. We don't want anybody to make our president vulnerable. These are questions. Yes or no, Bola Tinubu, were you a drug lord? Just yes or no. Thank you for watching. Yes or no.
All right. There are lots of videos, and I'm sure you are aware of one of them. What do you think, based on the question asked before the video?
Well, this is one of the greatest challenges that will confront this list of nomination, ambassadorial nominees. And I've decided to refer to it as the emergence of rock diplomacy. Because if you listen to one of the nominees who had categorically told the world that the president is a drug baron, and he has now been nominated to represent Nigeria. Of course, anywhere you are going to deploy him, the impression globally is that Nigerians are not serious people, Nigerians are not honest people, Nigerians speak from both sides of the mouth. And this is not only going to affect diplomacy, because diplomacy is a network of so many things. It's going to affect economic diplomacy. It's going to affect security diplomacy. It's going to affect trust. And so there is no country that will accept this type of a nominee as an ambassador and will not have the excess baggage to live with. He is even going to be a security threat to that very country, looking at his antecedents and his pedigree. So for the president to even consider nominating him is something that, to me as a person, I'm not surprised, because the president has not made the decision of presenting the best Nigerians to help his government. He has only been operating on the principle of a mi loco. It is my time. So it is his turn, and he is just looking for all sort of people, gathering all characters around him to embarrass and even destroy the hard-earned integrity of this country that we have earned in foreign diplomacy over the years. Nigeria is a highly respected diplomatic country. Our diplomacy had produced positive results to global peace and harmony and economic advancement. And this is the first time we are throwing in characters that will go and withdraw from the fixed deposit account of our integrity as a nation.
Now, Comrade Dalung, let's talk about, just referring to your previous comments, others will term it as magnanimity, and that we have a president that has a forgiving spirit, a fatherly figure. That's why he's let bygones be bygones. Don't you think in that direction too?
I commend the president for being magnanimous in forgiving him for all his utterances against him. But the position of ambassador, he is misfitting into it. The president can appoint him to handle anything for him at home. Even if he makes him a minister, this excess baggage cannot be easily, he cannot be relieved of easily. So I think he would have given him another responsibility, having pardoned him. Just like when he pardoned Daniel Bwala, he appointed him his spokesperson.
Yes.
Daniel Bwala is one of the prophets who told us that even if President Tinubu is given 30 years, nothing will change. And being a pastor, which God revealed to him, now he is somersaulted, just like the Bible says when Judas Iscariot committed suicide. And Peter said, as one of us, he has gone the way he's destined. So Obala went the way he's destined. Now he's whining and dining. But he knew as a fact that God revealed to him that even Tinubu is given 30 years, nothing will change, and nothing has actually changed. So he could have accommodated them as one of the attack dogs to help him fight the political front at home, and actively maybe be insulting people here and help him in 2027. But as a diplomat, I mean, we cannot accept our integrity as a nation to be reduced because of magnanimity of the president.
Now, Comrade Dalung, let's look at present-day Nigeria and the challenges we're facing. No country is an island, and we also belong to the Committee of Nations. As a keen follower of geopolitics and international relations, my question to you is, what should be Nigeria's foreign policy thrust as we move forward? Because we're being pulled in different directions. There's China with its Belt and Road Initiative, we have the BRICS, and you also have the Americans. Are we supposed to make a choice, or we can be friends with everybody? Like Nkrumah said, we don't look east nor west. We look and face forward. What should be Nigeria's foreign policy directive under this administration, and looking at our current realities?
Well, obviously, reviewing our current realities, Nigeria as a country should move out of the non-aligned theory and begin to align with developing nations that have taken the diplomatic stand, and they have also reconfigured their foreign policies to advance the cause of their national interests.
Can you give us examples of some of these nations, sir?
Yeah, you look at South Africa. South Africa has taken a definite stand. If you look at countries like Brazil, Brazil has also taken a stand. So Nigeria, which should have led the African countries or the Black world generally into this new foreign policy direction, has been bedeviled by inconsistent foreign policies, both domestic and foreign, and lack of assertive leadership with a defined interest. So today, Nigeria is just like a giant lying dead on the ground without any motion. And this had created, that vacuum created the emergence of countries like South Africa today that are championing and making their voices known and galvanizing the Black world towards a definite foreign policy direction. We can no more sit on the fence. We were sitting on the fence in the past because we had the issue of liberation movement in Southern Africa. We had other challenges in other countries of the world where we had common interests with them. And so we needed to tread cautiously. But now we cannot do that. We must take a definite stand and align, join the BRICS and assert ourselves, join countries, economic associations that will also give us the advantage of trying to redefine, trade, balance of trade, and other important elements of development. So I think we should move out of the non-aligned status.
Okay. Permit me to delve a little bit more to another subject at this moment. I mean, you are a very concerned citizen and you've done a lot in ensuring that you push for either equality or good governance. Just recently, the Minister of Defense just overnight extended his resignation. Do you have any thoughts concerning that? And do you think it's going to in any way implicate the situation that we find ourselves in, which is the level of insecurity? And do you think it's in any way associated with that, not being able to meet the demands of securing Nigeria?
Nigerians should try to understand our presidential democracy. The President of Nigeria is the Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria. He is the head of state of Nigeria and is the Commander-in-Chief of Nigeria. So he had these multiple responsibilities, all bequeathed in one person. Unlike other democracies or parliamentary democracies where you have the head of state distinctively, and then you have the prime minister who is the head of the government, and other command responsibilities located elsewhere. So the resignation of the Minister of Defense will not change anything. The appointment of the new Minister of Defense will not change anything, except if the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is determined to exercise the political will of dealing with this insecurity. I give Nigerians a good example. When Boko Haram was Nigerian Taliban and they were located in Yobe Mountains, sometimes in 2004, they annexed 2 local governments in Yobe. President Obasanjo gave the Chief of Army Staff 72 hours to flush them, or please bring back to him his uniform. And that was achieved. Again, in 2000, when Kaduna erupted into volatile violence, killings, mass killings were going on. The then governor of Kaduna, Ahmed McCarthy, called President Obasanjo and requested that he should put the military at his command to deal with the situation. It was through a phone call. Obasanjo graciously donated the powers of the Commander-in-Chief to Governor McCarthy, and McCarthy brought under control the escalating violence. And I did remember when Obasanjo went to Kaduna, he said, and I quote, that the bombs used in the 3 days crisis in Kaduna were more than the bombs used in 3 years during the Civil War. So this is what we refer to as political will. So you can change the ministers, bring retired military officers. If the political will to deal with the situation is not there, it is going to achieve nothing. The issue of equipping the military with modern equipment. The military today is not about size, it's about the quality of warfare. The weapons. The challenges we are undergoing, I did remember, if I'm not wrong, before we came in, Jonathan brought in mercenaries, and there were only 30 with sophisticated equipment and drones. And they reclaimed the 24 local governments that were under the control of the Boko Haram in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe. So it's not about change of guard. Is the president determined to deal with the situation? Once he made up his mind, even if he appoints an Almajiri as a minister of defense, things will change.
Now, Comrade Dalung, just before we begin to wrap up this conversation, back to the conversation on the ambassadors. This 32-man list that has been sent to the National Assembly, they will go into committee and scrutinize them more than you and I. So they have a deep insight into the personality, who those people are, if they're likely going to represent Nigeria's best interest in their foreign deployment assignment in the portfolios they will be assigned to the countries. My question to you is, what are your expectations from the National Assembly? Is this a foregone conclusion, or you expect some of the, are you expecting that list to be adjusted or pruned following scrutiny by the 10th Senate?
I'm just going to be very prophetic. It's a concluded, it's a done deal. And maybe the president may also have some supplementary lists to make. And people like Bello Turji, Abba Musa, Musab al-Barnari, this terrorist kingpin may also make the list. And Bello Turji may end up becoming Nigerian's envoy to Afghanistan. Professor Mahmoud may be deployed to the Vatican to help tutor how they will rig a conclave of appointment of popes. So I don't see anything happening different. Rather, I expect more names of men of questionable character and integrity to complete the remaining district. And at the end of the day, we will have Nigerian, we will now have the Nigerian foreign mission, we will refer globally as rock diplomacy, because we'll have people of low character, lack of integrity, and Nigeria will be a laughing stock. I will not be surprised if one of the terrorist financiers will be appointed Nigerian permanent representative to the United Nations. So what Reno said of the president, he has confirmed it. Because Reno said the president is a man of unquestionable, a man of a questionable character. And the president has demonstrated just that. So I don't expect anything different. Rather, we have to live with it and see how we wriggle out of it.
Now, finally, Comrade Dalung, some personal questions here. You served as sports minister for 4 years. You've given your all to this nation. What political party are you currently in, and would you be actively participating in the 2027 elections? Would you be seeking elective office in any capacity?
In my life, generally, I don't put myself in the ring to contest election. I generally respond to pressure from the people, oh, why don't you go in and contest this? That has been my attitude. I am a human rights activist, social justice advocate. That has been what I've been doing. I'm an accidental politician. It is my activities that usually drag me into politics.
Okay. Anyway, I think the network was frozen there, but thank you so much. Okay.
As a stranger into the comfort zone, I always run foul of the rules of the comfort zone. So I don't find it comfortable, even being in politics, because as an activist, we try to maintain the standard of telling people what is right. It's not that we are perfect, But even if we are involved, we do admit that we are involved. Just like I said, Buhari's government, which I serve, failed Nigerians because that was not what we campaigned for. So 2027, we are working very hard to see that Nigerians are mobilized to understand the need for good leadership that will ultimately lead us to good governance. So I've been in the coalition, and the coalition is building up, is coming up. So we see how
All right, Comrade Solomon Dalung. Anyway, unfortunately, we are out of time, but I think we've gotten your point. You're part of the coalition, and we'll see how that unfolds. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with us concerning the ambassadorial nominees and also the way forward. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.